second. It's working now. All right. Are we good to go? We've got a Nyx Assassin last pick for Moonmeander in the off lane. We had some technical difficulties, guys, but we are back. We're ready to go. We are actually jumping into the game as we speak. First game of the day, Complexity versus Unknown. Last pick, Nyx Assassin in the offlane. This is something we see Bulba on Now Sports do a lot, but he's like the only one in North America that I think picks that hero, at least until now. So,
yeah, it's just something that I think I saw MJW play yesterday on eHug, and it's a hero that's relatively easy to zone out if he doesn't get something like a Mango. The hero desperately relies on levels. Like if you don't get early levels, your life just becomes miserable because you don't get that early Vendetta, supports start to get a little bit more farm, sentries are easier to come by later on in the game, so I think you have to have impact off the bat.
What is he going to be going up against? Earthshaker, Wind Ranger, Storm Spirit is going to be going mid, and a Lion. That doesn't seem like the easiest lane to deal with. You're going to get blocked by the Fisher, shackle shot to a tree. There's so much disabled that they've got. They have a decent chunk of damage, both through burst as well as right click as well. So Nyx Assassin has got to be very careful in his positioning. He does throw up that Observer Ward close to the pole camp. So that is that's a rough lane. I don't know if Moon's going to be having a great time. This is not a hero that can go back to the jungle either. This is somebody, he can't really sack the lane. He kind of has to sit down here and hope for the best. Maybe get some rotations as well for mid, which they do have an IO, Z-Freak, as well as the Tiny nearby Swindle Mountains. They love to do this dual lane. So I'm not expecting Moon to get a whole lot out of this off lane, but I've been wrong before.
Yeah, they're actually just completely rotating this bottom lane and Fissure block off. Moon is still in position though.
He's got the Impale. He's going to use it. He's going to get that bounty rune as well. They get the nice avalanche going through. They've got Toss. No, obviously he's level 1. They have a Tether as well, but it's too far for Kataro. He's actually going to salve up. Wind runs early, so he put that early point into Wind Run just to make sure he could survive. He's going to harass Moonmeander. He does have a salve as well as 4 tangos. Throws up another Impale. He's actually out of mana, but he can use the Mango if need be. And that's it. So for now, just some damage exchanged. Early bounty rune picked up from Moonmeander. He's happy with that. And that's it.
I'm actually really surprised that Moon went for that last-ditch stun. That felt more like spite than actual worth. Like, I don't know what he expects to get out of that, but they actually rotate lanes, and that the Storm is actually going to be in this bottom lane. And I agree with this because I think that the Wind Ranger, you want to secure her farm, and it's actually easier for the Wind Ranger to be against that Tiny Wisp combination. Like, the Storm would struggle so much.
Storm is going to get run at, toss, avalanche dead, more than likely. Wind Ranger has the wind run ability. She can get out if necessary. She also has Shackle Shot, which is very good for aggression against the Tiny IO. Pretty easy to hit, and she's going to get levels quickly. She might actually be able to, if the IO's not there, is she able to get a solo kill on the Tiny, or if the IO's alone? Is that possible?
I think it's going to be difficult because they'll always be together, unless Z-Freak decides to go for stacks or something like that. But you would have to mess up like in a big way for that to actually happen.
At that point, Swindle would probably be tilting.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you're playing as the Wisp Tiny, though, you just kind of calm down, wait for opportunities, don't force things. The Wind Ranger's annoying to play against, yes, because you can't really kill her, but you're still going to out-farm her, so it doesn't really matter.
Surge is going to go top lane. Greedy is going to get out just barely. I mean, he did have the Surge. Level 1, not the best. Takes a lot of damage. He only has a salve and 3 tangos, so he has a decent amount of regen. This is not an easy lane. I don't know if Fly's going to be able to help get a kill. They have the IO in the jungle, so they're doing dual lanes. So Greedy might not get the most farm, at least until he levels up. But for now, he shouldn't die. And he won't get the regen rune top, though. Fly's going to be scouting that out. They'll get Excel, the bounty rune bottom. Z-Freak will pick up that early bottle, get the early regen rune as well, which is such a nice rune to have on the IO, and go from there.
Yeah, it actually helps out so much, and we're actually seeing right now the stats pop up, and it's 2-10 right now, and I don't actually know who won the other game with it, but Fly was one of the winners of it, so hopefully he continues his streak.
Shoutouts to Moppax or Statsman. Yeah, that's actually super surprising to me. I can't believe that Rupik is not doing that well. He seems to be picked almost every game, it feels like, and suddenly he's just not having this win rate that he wants to.
Yeah, I actually thought Motpax was you for some reason. Like, I thought you had changed your name. I was like, what the hell?
We're actually the same person.
Yeah, well, somebody said it out loud. I had never seen it written down.
Yeah, it's like, it's confusing, man. His is M-O-T-P-A-X and mine's M-A-U-T. And everyone's like, wait, aren't you like the same person?
I've known you forever. All good. Alright, so Moonmeander at this bottom lane, he's doing okay. The Storm is doubling him in CS, but that's to be expected. Mid
Fisher. Toss, Avalanche goes, but doesn't connect. Doesn't get the damage from the Toss Avalanche combo coming through. So Wind Ranger's able to win run away. Good Fisher came through actually as well from Z-Talk just to make sure. Then the Toss comes in. Ziz actually gets first blood top lane. Darkseer gets caught out of position. Oh, and his first blood, dear God. That's unfortunate. Telekinesis came through, gets the Shadow Strike off, which was level 2, level 1 Scream, and somehow he's just out of position. He had level 2 Surge, I believe. No, it's just level 1. Is he going to head back to the jungle at level 2? He's not getting anything out of this top lane right now.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing here as well is that means that Fly can pretty much move and rotate wherever he wants if this Queen of Pain is given an uncontested lane. And the Queen of Pain actually beats the Darkseer, if I remember, just by getting the 2 levels of dagger. You can chase him out. You can do things like body block him during the surge. You can chase after him with a blink. Like, there's a lot of options to get the kill, and it's pretty easy. So, but the Darkseer doing this badly, like being able to get killed, only 5 CS so far, and he's not even level 3, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. And Greedy's in this lane right now, but it's not actually going to be able to do much to help out. I think he's just waiting it out.
Yeah, leeching experience, getting level 3. You want your level 2 Ion Shell, I think, to jungle a bit more efficiently, but even that is not top tier. You really do not want to have to jungle. They do have a big stack, though, coming through, which Z-Talk gave him nicely. Excel gets the kill bottom lane. Moon Meander goes down. The Nyx Assassin getting blown up. Storm Spirit didn't even use the bottled Invis rune. So Moon Meander gets caught out. That is only 2 heroes. Nyx didn't have any regen whatsoever. He did have the Enchanted Mega, but that's not going to help out. He is level 5, though. Moon Meander is having a great time despite that death.
Yeah, that's the second time, actually, that the offlaner has been killed by just this dual lane, and it's a little bit surprising considering it's only a Storm that's not level 6, doesn't have a single level pull, and the Lion, so he has to be a little bit more careful.
Moon Meander does have a bottle, rotates back in. No boots, though. Level 6 comes around Vendetta. He'll be looking for a kill. Potentially mid. Mana Burn. Oh, God. Dark Noah does not feel good after that. He's actually going to pop the Invis rune. Does have a Soul Ring bottle as well as boots. Looking to jump onto Moon again. He's waiting. Doesn't have that point and pull. Goes for the 2 points into the Remnant and 3 points into the Overload. And they're looking for an Earth Spike. They're not going to find it. I don't think so. But what do you feel about this build anyways? The 2-0-3, you as an avid Storm Spirit player?
I think if I was going mid, I would go for the extra level of pull, just because I think it's helpful in getting kills, and even slowing down somebody. But if you're going in the short lane, I think the smart thing to do is to stick a hero that can go to the jungle and just kind of give Lion a little bit of farm, because Lion getting a pre-15-minute Blink Dagger means so much. Like, it's actually double the worth if he gets it at like 20 minutes, because at that point, people will start to have items and levels and it'll be hard. But if you can get it sometime in like the mid-laning phase, especially where people are going to be spread out, more susceptible to pickoffs, I think it means a lot more. And so I think that the correct response is that the Lion should sack the jungle, give it to the Storm. The Storm with the Soul Ring should rotate into the jungle, and then give the Lion the Earthshaker solo experience and a little bit of farm.
Can you only take those stacks with a 2-0-3 Storm Spirit? Do you need that second level in Static Remnant to do it?
It's just more efficient because you're not going to use the Electric Vortex at any point, right?
Right.
So I think it's overall a little bit faster with jungling. It's more efficient, and it makes it so much easier to lane as well.
So I'm also a big fan. Get that line, that Blink Dagger early. He's a long way away, though. He's sitting at 84 gold. Right now he's buying wards for his team, so Excel might get some room now. The Nyx Assassin can chomp down on this line if he's not careful. Moon Meander is level 6. Looking at the other lanes real quick while we've got a second. We do have the Wind Ranger sitting at level 5. Last hit's 30. The Tiny's at 39, so as expected, the dual lane doing pretty well. Coming out from Z-Freak as well. Swindle, Z-Freak level 4. Do they still have stacks? They do. That's the biggest thing. 2 stacks, both of the medium camps coming through. Swindle will be able to take that. Z-Freak leeches the experience, or sits mid and gets level 6, and then all of a sudden relocate ganks coming in. That could be huge.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that this Wind Ranger is doing as well as she is. I assume it's just because of the fact that the Earthshaker is constantly sitting there, and you can't really get aggressive against a Wind Ranger Earthshaker. Like, that's not a lane that'll kill you unless you're terribly out of position, but at the same time, it's pretty much impossible to kill unless they really mess up. Like, the Fissure block is absolutely terrible, then it's very unlikely. And here's the thing, though, is that Ziz is going to move down to this bottom lane and try to get a kill on this Lion.
He's got Sonic Wave, no Blink, though. Excel backing away. He's going to set under the creep wave. Doesn't seem to have an idea that this is happening.
Yeah, this is the problem right now, Mont, is that when you pick a hero like Queen of Pain and you want to give Fly experience or levels, for example, you can't go to the jungle. Like, Queen of Pain isn't a fast jungle hero. It's not efficient in the least, and so she's going to switch lanes with Moon Meander, and hopefully Moon is going to be able to get a kill, but he needs this for this to even work, because they spend so much time right now.
Oh, Kotaro, he's got Z-Talk right next to him. Vendetta's going to go Impale onto 2. They need the mana burn. He doesn't get it off. He can't see Kotaro. The fog was there. Moon Meander actually has to back away, tail between his legs. He's like, God damn it, I just wanted to kill. He couldn't find anything down in that bottom lane, rather the bottom jungle.
Yeah.
In top lane?
Oh, they're going to make a move on him?
I think Greedy is dead. This is a tough situation. You know, Swindle walks right up. Telekinesis might go. Surge comes through. They actually pull him just at the last second. They didn't even need to. And Swindle looks like he might be going for that early Blink Dagger. Meanwhile, Ziz in the jungle looking for Z-Talk. Has that Sonic Wave ready to go. Enchant Totem's going to fly. Z-Talk might die. I don't even needed to that Sonic Wave. That was a bit too much maybe from Ziz. That Shadow Strike was still on Z-Talk. Kataro's walking in. Has Shackle Shot ready to go. He's going to fly. Doesn't actually connect. Misses the power shot. Ziz has got his Blink Dagger. He's going to try to TP out. He's on the lower side of the cliff. Ziz will make it away. And they do get that one kill on the Earthshaker. And they get the kill top on Greedy as well.
Yeah. I think if Kataro had just been a little bit more proactive about immediately throwing out the focus fire, and if you throw down that shackle shot, even if it misses, you have to throw out the follow-up power shot because it's too easy to dodge. The power is reduced so much, right? Because the range has been increased, but you have to charge it to full now for it to actually do anything, and so you have to fire it in conjunction.
Just kind of whiffs on it, unfortunately, the shackle shot power shot combo, but that's fine. He's still having an okay time mid. He's sitting on 500 gold, phase boots, and a 1. Now here's the question. Slasher's build for Kotaro maybe goes for something like a Maelstrom early on, maybe even puts up an early Blink Dagger. What's the build here for the Wind Ranger?
I think going for the Aghanim Scepter first is actually going to be really huge. Against the initiation that something like a Tiny, a Rubik, a Nyx, there's just so much initiation by complexity.
Greedy is dead. Relocate top lane. Not much else to say about that. They already caught him out with the Queen of Pain, but anyways.
Yeah, I think that if you're him, the Aghanim Scepter build is good because it gives you a lot of stats, but not too much intelligence. And so I think that you get a lot of value out of the item as a whole. Like, it only gives you 10 to the intelligence attribute, whereas if you get something like a Hex, I think getting something like a BKB is pretty useless. And so I think you do go for the Slasher's Way kind of build.
And then from that point, maybe getting a Blink Dagger. Daedalus obviously is the big item. But that'll be later on down the road for Kotaro. Speaking of farmed heroes, the Storm Spirit does have his point booster. He already has the Soul Ring. He's getting up to the Bloodstone pretty quickly. I feel like Unknown are doing pretty poorly with the exception of Dark Noah. Like, he's actually farming so well. He had those jungle stacks, obviously, like we talked about. He had a great time down bottom. This is kind of what you expect to see out of the Storm Spirit early on in the game.
Yeah, especially since he was in the safe lane. He's got 94 CS. He's kept himself off the map. And probably more important than that is that he's giving his supports some levels. Like, Excel right now is level 6. And for a line, that's pretty huge just because of the ultimate should mean that a hero is instantly dead, and the Earthshaker isn't even doing too badly in terms of levels. Like, they have a lot greedier supports like Earthshaker plus line, but they're still managing to pick up some levels in some farm. And at the same time, a lot of their time was devoted to getting the Storm just stack after stack after stack, right?
They've been selfless, so the dream for that early Blink Dagger for the line might not be there. Line's just like, can you give me a lane, please?
He's got nowhere to go. He knows if he shows up bottom, he's so dead.
Yeah, Swindle's there. He's got a Blink Dagger as well, so he's going for that early aggression coming through with Seafruit, which I am a big fan of the Blink Tiny, and he gets the treads as well. Builds into the Aghanim Scepter more than likely later or next. So it's 4-1, not the most action-packed game, but we're kind of just waiting on the Storm Spirit to get farm. Darkseer desperately needs levels. He's caught up pretty well. He's level 7 now. He has the headdress as well. We haven't really seen much of him. He's just been AFKing in the jungle, which is fine. That's exactly what he needed to do. Luckily enough, he was able to sack that off lane. Queen of Pain's doing pretty well, but now Swindle as well as the Owl are going to rotate towards mid. They'll look to push in. But other than that, it's just kind of both teams farming at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised with the Blink Dagger choice. I'm actually kind of a fan of it as well, but it doesn't seem like this is the best game to do it because everyone's being so defensive.
That is a dead line. Relocate comes out. They're going to find more. Greedy gets tossed up in the air. They'll take 2 and the tier 1 tower. Complexity putting on the pressure all over the goddamn map. They'll pick up the Arcane Boots from Moon Meander, relocate back out towards mid, and just like that, 5 heroes top lane, they split up, they get a tower, they get a couple of kills, they head back to their own devices.
They're actually playing this so well right now, Complexity. They're not forcing anything, they're letting opportunities come to them. They're making rotations where Unknown don't have any time to respond. Like, even if there's a TP response there, it's going to be too late, and now they're in position, they're behind this tower right now, they're looking for Kotaro right now.
Kotaro did not go for that axe, he's going for that Mithril Hammer, which means he's probably going for that Maelstrom, but he might be dead here. Vendetta Strike, Impale, and he's up in the air for like 5 seconds through both Impale and Toss, gets absolutely obliterated. Here comes Dark Noah though, Z-Freak in trouble, Echo Slam brings down the Nyx Assassin, Z-Freak's gonna fall as well. Ziz now on the back alliance alone, blinks away, gets out in time, gets tossed back by Swindle. That was awkward, I don't think that was intended, but it was kind of funny to watch nonetheless. And finally Unknown get the first decent trade of the game, but they do lose Kotaro Hayama in the process.
Yeah, you're okay with that, though, because the Storm's going to pick up something like a 14-minute Bloodstone. The only thing, though, is that if you go for this Bloodstone build, you're a little bit susceptible to ganks if, for example, this was a little bit more farmed and he had his Orchid or was close to it, then the Bloodstone build is pretty much useless. Like, you have to continue to farm after that point. It's like a weird anomaly that exists, is that you want to kind of fight if you have the Bloodstone, but at the same time, if somebody gets an early Orchid, then you're kind of screwed in the sense that you have to just continue to get more farm.
It's tough. He is going to probably be the one farming the jungle the most. His Bloodstone is going to be done. As you mentioned, though, Ziz is going to be getting that Orchid pretty soon. He already has one Oblivion Staff, so we're looking like 14-minute Bloodstone coming out for, I think, the Storm Spirit, and then like maybe 15, 60-minute Orchid coming out for the Queen of Pain, and that doesn't feel great as a Storm, so, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, what they actually have to do, what Ziz has to do is, in fights, he pretty much just has to wait for the Storm Spirit to show up. Like, he can't just preemptively pop the Orchid. It's actually more important that Ziz stay out of the fight and wait for the counter initiation than him to go in, I feel, immediately. Because if he gets popped and there's no way, there's not a whole lot of ways for Complexity to stop that Storm Spirit, because he just has so much HP that he has to get the Orchid off on him.
The good news is that if Ziz is out of position, Z-Freak will be there with like a tether overcharge. So they have some survivability. I don't think they have a mech, though. They don't. They're not even, no one's even building it, which is fine. They don't. Not really a particular mech carrier in this game. And on the other side, mech is being completed by Greedy. He's almost got it, so he's caught up well. So we haven't even talked about vacuum walls in this game, but that is one thing that you do need to be aware of Complexity, especially with a tiny underside. That can't feel good.
Yeah, so the Earthshaker sets up for it so well as well. And, if you mess up even a little bit, Kotaro could get a free Shackle Shot off, and he's going for this Maelstrom build. I think this is just in response to the fact that he's so underfarmed that he doesn't think that he's going to get the Aghanims at a reasonable time. And I think that's an okay idea, but I still would have liked to see it in this middle lane. When Meander just kind of pops the Spike Carapace in anticipation.
He was ready. He knew he was spotted. They actually saw him. His smoke broke. There was a ward right here as he walked out, which they put another ward down. I don't think that ward was actually spotted because it was placed by a smoke hero. They don't know that they've got vision. There's just a battle mid currently, and everybody's just kind of chilling. But bottom lane and Swindlemelon's like, let's party. I got my point booster. It's time to go Ags. I'm also placing your tier 2 tower. What are you going to do about it? And they're not really rotating. They're just sitting mid currently.
Yeah, they have to know that Swindle has the Wisp behind him, and so this is too much of an investment of time to be able to go down and gank, and they're actually heading over, but Fly's in position right now, throws down the Remnant Flying Vision.
Oh, they catch him with a telekinesis. He has no way of getting out of this. The Toss Avalanche combo does more than enough damage. He just bought that Bloodstone already down to 5 charges, and they're going to maybe find more. Excel, he gets hit up with the Impale. There's the Mana Burn. Now the Tether comes through. Shackle Shot doesn't actually latch. Another Toss comes in. There's the Sonic Wave. Kotaro able to take the damage and then just run away with the Wind Run. TP coming in from the Earthshaker. He's Scott Fisher. He's going to pop it off and flying Z-Freak. Moon coming in. Impale. Toss as well. Echo Slam comes in onto 2. The Vacuum. They're going to get Swindle. They might get Moon. Dark Kunoa is back in the fray. 3 down for Complexity. Might be 4. Fly's going to fall down as well. Triple kill for Kotaro Hayama. Stays in the fight. His Maelstrom now done. Plus 1,500 gold. What a turnaround coming out from Unknown. That respawn coming through for the Storm Spirit. Huge. As well as that Earthshaker.
It was honestly 100% the Vacuum. Because if the Vacuum doesn't fall there, they're going to get one more right-click off on the Earthshaker. He dies. But the Earthshaker was able to survive for that half second, and he got everything off. Like, he got a 2-man Echo Slam, point-blank range with 2 levels of Aftershock. Like, there was just too much that dropped on top of their heads. They had no time to respond to that, and I mean, that mech came in, that Darkseer was like the secret hero of that fight. Like, he came in, he didn't do anything too flashy if you weren't paying attention, but he pretty much won them the fight. And all of a sudden, that Storm Spirit, I was going to say, like, having 5 Bloodstone charges immediately after you buy it is actually the worst feeling ever, because then you're no longer ahead, you're trying to catch up in terms of Bloodstone charges. The magic numbers, I want to say about 18, where you feel really comfortable with your mana and stuff like that. It's like a really precise thing I have in my head, sorry. But to start off with 5 at that point, and then all of a sudden you've got 9, so you're 1 ahead of the curve.
That is pretty nice to have. I mean, especially he must have been feeling bad, but Darkseer comes in literally out of nowhere. Nobody for Complexity has seen the Darkseer for like ages. He'd just been in the jungle, and he says, guys, I've got a mech, I've got a Vacuum. I'm sure the Earthshaker is screaming like, just keep me alive. Give me this Echo Slam off. And he did. Sick fight coming out from Unknown, sick turn.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was a little bit too aggressive by Complexity though? They had to have known with the Bloodstone the Storm was going to respawn really soon.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like they were in tip-top fighting shape.
No, they definitely weren't. There was a really good Fissure block. If that didn't exist, maybe it could have been better, but they were really behind that tower though. Instead of being in front of the tower trying to pressure it, they went right behind the tower and they got destroyed for it. So yeah, I think it was a little bit too aggressive. Ziz did not go down in that fight. I think he blinked out, got his Orchid. He wasn't really a part of it, but then every other hero died. So, well, how much did that actually give Unknown? It's actually even in net worth now. There was a 3,000 net worth lead for Complexity, and then Unknown with that fight evened things up. And experience-wise, it's the same exact thing. So suddenly this becomes a bit of an easier game for Unknown, the Peruvian squad. Swindle looking to jump in. He's going to find Excel. Misses the toss. And he's got to back away. He's trying to build that Aghanim Scepter. He's actually only 1,000 gold away from that big tree. And then he'll be pretty happy.
Yeah. The one thing is that if it's even in terms of net worth, then it benefits Unknown more because they have the snowball heroes. And because the Storm Spirit has opted to go for the Bloodstone first, that's a purely defensive farming build. And so for me personally, if I'm playing a Storm Spirit and my team is somewhat even and I decide to go for a Bloodstone first, then I feel that I'm ahead. Because if I participate in 1 or 2 fights, they go well, then the game pretty much feels like I can do anything.
And then it just gets out of control from there.
Yeah, exactly. And he's actually going for the Yule's build.
Yep.
I thought he was going to get a BKB just because there's so much on the side of Complexity that crushes him so quickly. I think the Yule's is a bit greedier, but if it pays off, then it can really pay off.
It's really just for that silence, I feel like, but then he's still going to get tossed, he's still going to get avalanche, he's still going to get impaled. There's all these abilities that they can use on him, so it feels like you were mentioning, BKB might have been the smarter choice, or the safer choice, at least here.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate it because I'm not a BKB builder. It's like the one item that I feel it makes things a little bit easier, but if you're playing in a competitive game, I almost always get it second or third because you need to snowball. Like a 1-for-1 trade in team fights for a hero like Storm is never worth it, Mod.
You freaking pro players, you competitive players, you 6K MMR players. I was playing with Purge the other day, and he's just like playing Doom. He never goes for the BKB. I'm like, we would have won the game if that's when BKB.
He was telling me about that. He felt really bad. But.
I mean, it was a fun game. I had 40 assists on Zeus. I'm like, how do I have 40 assists and I still lose the game, dude? What happened?
Yeah, the main thing is that you don't want to get it because it's kind of a boring item in the sense that it's so good.
Yeah.
There's like no reason not to get it in a competitive
like any game, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could make the case for it on pretty much any hero in any scenario. And so the Storm going for the Yule Scepter, I feel like this is one of those boomer bust kind of builds. I kind of agree with you though. There's so much on the side of Complexity that could absolutely crush him so fast. Like he can go from full HP to nil in half a second. There's the Sonic Wave, the Orchid, the Nyx Assassin does absolute work with the Mana Burn. Like there's just so much. And the big thing too is that once Moon Meander gets something like the what is that item called? The Blink Dagger, he can just blink in, go for the Spike Carapace and the stun simultaneously. So if the Storm hits him with any incidental damage, then he gets stunned up for how long is it? It's 2.4 seconds, which for Storm Spirit, it feels like an eternity.
Yeah, that is an eternity, honestly. You do not want to be... You want to be constantly moving on that hero, especially if you have the mana pool to do so. And right now, he is going greedy. This is something I see Sumail do so often. But even in games where there's this type of magic damage and lockdown, he will still go for BKB. So Darkanoa, it's all about positioning. It really is right now all about positioning coming out for this Storm Spirit, and it's going to be tough. I feel this might be rougher than he's thinking it might be. So
it's one of those things that it really comes down to how Complexity approaches the fights, because their first instinct can't just be let's blow up whoever we can. They really have to pay attention, figure out what they're using, because that's what he's going to do, right?
Yeah.
Dark knows he's going to wait for in the back, see what spells are used, kind of count them in his head, and then he knows he has a timing window, because if he's like, okay, they've used the Tiny Stun and Toss, they've used the Rubik Glyph, they've used the Nyx Assassin Stun, then the only thing I have to worry about is the Orchid from the Queen of Pain.
But you're waiting so long to do that, though. The fight might already be over if that's the case.
Yeah, that it kind of comes down to this weird scenario where you don't want to be the first person to make the move.
No, he might.
Oh wow, he actually got so lucky there. He went for the rune, so he zips down as they smoke past him.
He misses the smoke ink. Gets the regen rune, arguably the best rune for this hero. One of the best anyways. I think the regen probably not really better than on a Storm Spirit. It's probably just so good.
It's a toss-up between that and DD.
Yeah.
It just depends on
He has both, by the way. He's got a bottle DD too.
Oh yeah. Moon Meander actually opts to go for that Hand of Midas, which I think is a little bit too greedy considering the scenario. Maybe he thinks that they don't want to force the fights, and so they want to play a slower paced game. And if you force the Blink Dagger and you don't go for something like the Midas, because he doesn't have a lot of farm, he hasn't been in a lot of kills, and so his game in terms of farm is kind of shut down. So I think going for the Midas is actually arguably an okay choice.
We'll have to see if it pays off. Jump in, the Blink Dagger toss, not there. Avalanche was there for a second. They need the Orchid, now the toss through. TP coming out, they have no way to stop this. Darkanoa is going to get out. Ooh, Fly with the ball lighting, just misses. He didn't have lift though, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways, but nice play from Kotaro to TP out immediately. Doesn't lose any bloodstone charges. Moon, he's next to a Sentry Ward. There's going to be the Impale coming through, the Ice Spike rather, and then the Finger of Death. See you later, Moon. He knows there's a Sentry Ward there, but he's dead already, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that he continued to go for that in the top.
Kotaro, this could be a big kill. Shackle Shot latches to the tree. What an angle! They steal Shackle Shot from Fly, get it on the tree, toss Avalanche, easy kill. Fly says, you're not going anywhere. I got my Shackle Shot ready to go. Gets the kill. That was sick.
That was really well played by both of them, and wow, and Z-Freak actually goes down, but that's 100% worth it.
Yeah, they relocated from the jungle. They knew exactly where he was, but yeah, like you said, worth it. Kotaro farming up the Storm, almost up to his Aghanim Scepter. I'm not sure how much gold he had beforehand, but he's only 500 gold away now, so.
It's honestly just been a factor of there's too much that COL has to deal with right now. Like, they have to go for the Storm Spirit, who is snowballing pretty hard. Like, he's got 10 Bloodstone charges, the Yules, 1,200 gold on top of that. Easily leading the last hits and denies so far, and you have to go for that, but you also have to go for the Wind Ranger, and both are a large commitment. But as I was saying, I'm kind of surprised that Moon Meander decides to go up that hill, because he has to know that he got hit by the neutral creeps, so that he knows that the sentry is there, right, when he's invis.
Yeah.
And at that point, he's like, his alarm bell should go off, and he's like, oh, they definitely have sentries, they should be able to see me coming.
This is Moon Meander we're talking about, though. He is an aggressive player through and through. He will go ham if he can, but it does not pay off there. He's still doing okay. He went for that Midas. He lost a bit of gold after he died. Still going to be getting kind of close to that Blink Dagger. And he's farming pretty well down bottom. They're giving him some room to work with. For now, though, I want to talk about the late game, because I feel like we talk about so often a Tiny and an IO together, and they seem like the late game duo, not only in terms of team fighting potential, but the ability to push towers and buildings.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you always have to pay attention for, but the good news for Unknown is that they have a lot of pick-off potential. So they've got the Storm, they've got the Wind Ranger, like these are some of the better heroes against this kind of duo because they can get in and out so quickly in terms of fights. So I think it's okay this game. A lot of it just depends on how this Storm plays, and he's actually going to go for the BKB now, and I think this is the correct decision. Going for the Yules, so he doesn't lose any Bloodstone charges and he doesn't get solo picked off by the Queen of Fate. I think it's fine. Oh, and at top.
Yeah, I mean, he just got relocated on. Gets blown up. But it's a lion. It happens. It's a lion. He doesn't even... Oh, God, he's nowhere near his Blink Dagger. He's rough. He's in rough shape. That's weird to talk about, too. Thinking that a lion without a Blink Dagger at 25 minutes is in rough shape, where usually, like a couple of patches ago, we would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no way a lion ever gets a Blink Dagger at this timing.
It's weird that... yeah, I completely agree with you. There was like a... In Dota, the meta is such drastically changed. It went from supports were always underfarmed, that kind of Chinese style where it was 4 protect 1 at top.
They're going to jump in. Fly gets the lift out at the last second. Steals a spell. Shackle Shot blinks away. Is actually able to make it out. Ziz is going to walk through as well. Wind Ranger gets a kill onto the Nyx Assassin in the meantime in the jungle. Action was, I think, down bottom, but Darkanoa is going to be able to get away. Meanwhile, Swindle and Z-Freak kind of alone here. Shackle Shot will not latch. Echo Slam for the Blink Dagger that Z-Talk picks up. There's the vacuum, no wall, but the Enchant Totem and the right click from Kotaro Hayama, the legend, gets the double kill, and now they're going to head right to Roche with Focus Fire up in 5 seconds. This is going to be quick. They're going to break the spell shield with the Shackle Shot. There's no way Complexity can test this. There's no buyback on Swindle. Not the best play. Not sure why they walked into the enemy jungle alone with just those 2 heroes.
They have to know. There's been so many pickoffs in that jungle. They have to know that it's well protected, and I'm a really big fan of what Unknown are doing. They constantly protect their jungle, even if they're not playing in that region, right? Because they want to spot the rotations, and that's the second time they've killed Meander in a row in almost the exact same position, and then they managed to get 2 kills on top of that. So getting this Aegis on the Storm Spirit, it's probably the best Aegis carry in the game, honestly, just because you come back with full mana, you can be able to zip out in and out. And Fly made a good play at top, but at the same time, he's a Rubik, and he just got away. Like, you need to be able to make something happen right now, and it feels like Complexity are getting a little bit sloppier than they should.
Yeah, it's not about surviving so much as it is about, like, let's actually get kills. Let's put some points to the board. Let's do something. So they kind of... We were talking about that snowball for Unknown, and that fight was kind of indicative of how it could be. But the problem was that they've kind of just been farming for a long time. They've been very protective of their own jungle, as you talked about. They haven't really gone for aggressive plays. Maybe now they start snowballing, especially with this BKB and Aegis on the Storm. Maybe they'd be a bit more aggressive here.
Yeah, once he gets this BKB, there's almost nothing on Complexity that's going to be able to kill him. Like, he's never going to let the Tiny get in close and right-click him with the Aghanim Scepter. And yes, the Queen of Pain ult does go through, but you have to understand that if that's your only damage force coming out, like the supports that Complexity have don't really do much against a BKB Storm Spirit.
No.
The Wisp is it's like a ball of light.
What does he do?
It's not meant to do anything.
I'm tethered to someone. Oh, yay, I can't actually hit you. That sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And so Unknown are making this move for the tier 1 tower top, and I think that with the Aegis, they should just take as many towers as they can.
I think it comes down to Fly and Moon initiating, like that instant telekinesis. Like the lift is so important into an impale, and then if you could do that, he doesn't get his BKB off. I mean, that's the perfect engagement onto a Storm Spirit. And we're not even talking about the rest of the squad of Unknown, who's probably sitting behind that Storm Spirit, you know, ready to go. But we already talked about those abilities. Like, the Storm Spirit's going to be pretty careful in terms of when he jumps in, when he jumps out. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't right now. For Complexity, like you said, it's how they approach these fights. It's how they initiate.
The way it was originally is that if you go for this Fuel Scepter, you have to kind of play the fights back, wait for things to happen, count the spells, and almost any good competitive player can do that. But once you get a BKB, especially against a lineup like this, you no longer have to do that. Like, that just goes out the window. Yeah, you go find the Wisp, blow them up as fast as you possibly can for your teammates, and then just try to create havoc in the team fights, try to force people to go on you. But I'm really surprised, honestly, that Moon's opting not to go for the Blink Dagger.
Oh, what is he doing? Is he going Aghanims? Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lurker.
I think that the Aghanim Scepter is okay, but against a team with a Wind Ranger who doesn't have a BKB yet, a Storm Spirit that just picked it up, like if he had been able to get a Blink Dagger at a reasonable time, I feel like Complexity can maybe force some fights. But as it is right now, the amount of initiation that they have just comes down to Swindle blinking forward with the Tiny.
Yeah. What could have been an early Blink Dagger instead turns into a Midas. The Midas was okay at the time. Now we're kind of questioning the pickup just because they're not really doing anything. He's not getting much farm. He's died twice already where he could have maybe lived with a Blink Dagger. So Moon not having a great game right now.
I feel like it just doesn't synergize with their lineup. Is the thing is that they don't really have the best pick on the tempo, right? If you think about how the fights are going to go, like the best way I feel as a caster, the way that I do it is I kind of just draw from my experience and say, okay, if he enters, they use this on him to kill him, they need a minimum of this. And for them to kill the Storm and the Wind Ranger, I feel like they need a little bit more of a jump. And at bottom, what? Alright, he's just rolling past things. Like, he killed him at like...
Well, he had a regen rune.
He killed him over here though. He didn't even.
He was like he was putting a static remnant here, which I think might have gotten vision over here, and then he just jumps in with the regen rune that he had, and Fly just dies.
That's just so unfortunate.
God, he's had 2 regen runes. He's had a double damage rune. Darkano has been on point with his rune control. They force out the TP from the Earthshaker. They were trying to pressure tier 3. They get minimal damage on it. They get the tier 2 TPs coming into the backside. Darkano is going to remnant and see Swindle rotate in. Shack Shot won't latch. Swindle looking to jump in. He's got 1 second on his blink. Gets hexed up. Kind of low on mana. Ball letting through. Vacuum in. Finger as well. Earth Spike. Sonic might fly. Mecha relocate out. Nice play from Z-Freak. Darkano, his BKB still going. It's a 10-second duration. Long one, in fact. He'll back away. Spirit's connecting. Now he's out of the BKB. Actually kind of has to back away. Still engages. Now the jump in. Impale comes through. There's the wall coming in. Now the Earth Spike flying through. Spell is stolen. What did he get? It's only Wind Run. Kotaro gets out. Pops his BKB. There's the Glimmer Cape. Greedy needs to get away as well. Excel, these 3 heroes need to just hightail it out of here. Excel will not be so lucky. What about Greedy? But here comes Darkano from the backside. Gets Z-Freak, but actually gets caught out. Vacuum comes in. Earth Spike on to 2. Z-Talk in trouble. Aegis is done. Kotaro comes back up. Now telekinesis. They need damage. Mana burn. Impale's up at 6. Fatal. Silence is up, but there's the Yules. They need an avalanche, but they don't have it for 5. Impale comes through. They get the toss. They get the kill. It's a double for Fly, who makes yet another play. Flight is all over the goddamn place, Blitz. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but in the end, it is actually 4 for 1, and that is a huge trade for Complexity.
That just felt a little bit sloppy by Unknown. They didn't really know which target they wanted to go for. They initiate on the Tiny, but they have to realize that the Wisp is always going to be there. He's never just going to stand there by himself, and they have to anticipate that. And so the issue is that, yes, the Storm has Aegis, but he wanted to die in that scenario. Like, he wanted to use that initial roll, get killed, but then he had to pop his BKB, so for his second life he was completely useless.
Yes.
And for the first life he was useless as well, because he uses his entire mana pool to get that jump off. It doesn't really accomplish too much, and so I think if you're unknown, your Storm Spirit has to be a little bit more sure with his BKB. Like, if he's going to roll in and use that, he has to be absolutely certain of the fight's about to break out. But Complexity just waited out and played for the better positional game.
They tried to force something for Unknown for sure. That's definitely what it felt like.
Yeah, I don't think that they were in any position that they had to go for it. Like, going for Swindle right there, I feel like, yeah, you're snowballing, you're getting a little bit ahead, but you don't necessarily have to make use of that Aegis.
Yeah.
Like, you can just kind of use it to scare the other team into playing 5-man Dota,
yeah.
which is what he was doing, right? Like, they were split 3-2, 4-1, things of that nature, and he was doing just fine with the Bloodstone charges, and now he's reset to pretty much dead even, and whatever snowball advantage he has is pretty much died because the Tiny now has an MKB.
Yeah, that wind run is not going to save you anymore, Mr. Kotaro Hayama. You're going to have to be very careful with your positioning. They threw pretty much every spell there for Unknown as well. Sans, maybe an Echo Slam? I don't think I saw one. It could have connected. I don't even know if Z-Talk was there, honestly. I think he rotated back bottom, actually, or top lane, rather, to stop the push. So they were fighting 4 versus 5, I believe, for at least the majority of that fight. And then they initiate. We saw what happened. And now you have to deal with this giant Tiny, as well as some other big heroes for Complexity. I don't know what the Queen of Pain has. Looks like she's going for Hex. Ziz is going to be picking the side device pretty soon. Or could be a Linking Sphere, but I think Hex might be a better choice here in this game.
I think going for the Hex is fine. Once you have a BKB, I think I saw one of the Chinese games, it was like HGT versus Wings or something like that. I don't want you to quote me on that, but the Queen of Pain decides to go for both a Lincoln and a BKB, and I think that's incredibly unnecessary.
Ziz, with the game sense, sees a couple of heroes rotating over, blinks out immediately. Will survive. He should actually be dead, I feel like, but he makes it out. Gem on Fly. He needs to be careful. He does have Ball Lightning and a Glimmer Cape and a Blink Dagger, so that's a farm Rubik.
That's such a huge spell to steal as well, because he doesn't have the biggest mana pool, so Ball Lightning doesn't cost him that much. The activation cost for him is 86, and per second travel, I don't want to do math right now, but it's incredibly low. Like, he can get really far, actually, with that mana pool.
We don't do math here. We leave that up to Moppack's stats, man. Moppax, if you want to. I'm just kidding, Moppax.
Don't do that.
I ask him for so much. I literally like, Moppax, can you search up this stat, this one generic thing that no one should know ever, and he just does it half the time. I'm like, all right, sweet, we're in.
Yeah, I could kind of feel out for you if you wanted. Like, I could do it in my head right now, but
no.
I just like, but he goes pretty far, and so him being able to steal that is huge. On top of that, like, it's pretty hard to steal these Storm Spirits Ball Lightning, because at the same time, when you land, you'll throw the Remnant down at the same time. And so I noticed the Storm a lot of the times, though, he'll roll into a lane and just use the overload damage and the shock from landing to get the majority of the creep kills, and so it's actually pretty easy for Fly to steal with this game.
Yeah, so Fly getting a pretty much a secondary Blink Dagger. He already has one. It's just a good ability to get in and out of fights pretty quickly. He has the Glimmer Cape, which you talked about. Moon is sitting on his Soul Boost. Oh, it's Octarine Core. It's not Ags, it is Octarine Core. My apologies.
Oh, of course.
That one makes a lot more sense than Aghanim Scepter. I don't think anyone's ever going to buy that item. Meanwhile, jump in from Fly, Telekinesis. There's the silence. Glimmer Cape's going to come out, but they are just right-clicking him down, and he will fall. They had the gem, obviously, for the detection, and they even steal Fissure, too. He gives up Ball Lightning, but he gets Fissure, one of the best spells to steal for a Rubik because of the cast point.
It's like the best spell that he can steal this game, aside from maybe the Echo Slam or the Wall.
Yeah.
And he's looking for this kill, right? No, he's actually not going to be able to get
it.
Yeah, really might actually be able to, though.
Yeah, they're going to get in there. Toss Avalanche, the right click. Even if Wind Run came out, they have the MKB, and that was a really solid play. I thought Fly was just kind of walking into his own death, but then he throws down the ward. He's like, they're here. I have a Telekinesis. Get in here. They relocate, they find a kill, and that's another huge kill. Wind Ranger's progression is stifled. She's sitting on 1700. She hasn't gotten anything since that BKB, so.
Yeah, and again, we saw Complexity lose the lead that they had early game with those rotations into the jungle getting picked off one by one, and this kind of reminds me of this early game that Complexity had, where now Unknown, it feels like there's not really a game plan, right? Like, there's no... Yeah, you're trying to get wards up into their jungle, but Enkataro Hayama thinks that he's safe farming all the way over here, but at the same time, what's your move if you're Unknown, right? Like, if you're just going to farm out the game, then there are better ways for you to farm, or better, safer places, right? Because he's completely blind there. Like, the Wind Ranger has absolutely no knowledge. He knows that his teammate just died in that sector as well.
They actually have no wards on the map at all.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that right now, Unknown, they have to kind of slow down, relax, forget about that fight, where I feel like they had an advantage, and I don't want to say the word throw because that has such a negative connotation, but they kind of gave away the type of lead.
I will say tilting. That's
yeah,
how
exactly.
I feel. And I will say American teams are way more susceptible to it, at least from my opinion, than some of the other regions. Maybe SEA a little bit as well, but
it's what makes the scene so great, though.
That's true. That's why I love it, man. Like,
it's so unpredictable.
You just you see crazy stuff happen. You're like, why did that actually just like yesterday the NAR versus Not Today game? Like, NAR have mega creeps against them and they somehow still win. Like, how does that happen? Like, what? But Octarine Core is done, man. Moon Meander has it. Let's see the cooldown: 37.5 for Vendetta. Impale is about 10. 3 for Mana Burn, which is huge.
That is
Storm Spirit, and then 10 point something for Spike Carapace.
That is so short, actually, for the Mana Burn alone.
Yeah,
that might actually be worth it for that alone. And if you could get it off like 3 times in a fight against the Storm Spirit, they would just win the game.
Yeah. Storm does have his Hex now. It's a good item. Like you said, though, it doesn't feel like there's much of a plan for Unknown. They are now sticking around their jungle, which was the plan earlier on in the game. But now, Complexity are playing as 5. They're going to invade the jungle. They'll have Ziz leading the way. They're going to see Kotaro ball lightning in. They actually see up Dark Kanoa, toss Avalanche, Impale. They lock him down. He can't get his BKB. Glimmer Cape, Kotaro in trouble as well. The last couple of right clicks. Shackle Shot, not going to let blink away from Ziz. Fisher on the 3, well played on the backside. Echo Slam comes in. Big play from Z-Talk, but he can't get the kill. Hex up on the backside. Swindle rotates over to Z-Talk, wants that kill. He'll find it with a giant club of tree that he's got, this giant freaking stone. Looking for more. They're able to get out with Greedy, but still Dark Kanoa falls yet again. They almost lost Kotaro Hayama, but he's able to survive.
And these fights, they always start almost every single time now with Unknown on the back foot trying to run away, but you're not going to run away from a Queen of Pain and Nyx Assassin and a Tiny Wisp. It's just actually impossible.
Too much catch.
Yeah, exactly. Fi's got a Blink Dagger as well. If you're Unknown, if you get spotted, you have to commit. The same actually applies for Complexity, but right now they're winning the game, so there's no reason for them to have to run away. And with this Aegis as well, they have a high ground mechanic, and the problem that you're seeing right now is that there's just not a lot of damage on the side of Unknown. Like, the Echo Slam was huge, but their team was split up. They weren't able to take advantage of it, and this just feels a little bit sloppy to me by Unknown. It feels like they had sight of a game plan. They're like, okay, we're going to invade the enemy's team jungle, we're going to protect our own, we're going to try to get aggressive, we'll take the Roshan, and it felt like there was a game plan that they were executing and following, and now it just kind of feels like they're waiting for something to happen, or they're waiting for Complexity to slip up. And to Complexity's credit, they haven't. Like, ever since that kind of early game where they invaded the jungle, they got a few deaths that they shouldn't have, they've kind of slowed down, rearranged themselves, and they're playing really proactively now.
This does not feel like a team that is 2 former Han players that just transitioned to Dota this past year. They do have the veteran presence of Fly, actually 3 Han players in Z-Freak, Swindlemelons, and Moonmander. They have the veteran presence of Fly, and they are playing in a team house. They're on the ball right now. They're looking so good. There was a couple early engagements. By the way, I did not see this. Swindle has a Moon Shard.
Yeah, I saw him just eat it right now, and I was like, huh. But there is a animation on it where you can hover over right next to the AC, so he ate that, but he's just getting so farmed right now, and the more that you mess up against a Tiny Wisp combination and the more towers you start to lose, then the split push becomes more and more viable, and they couldn't afford to lose that bottom one so early, and getting rid of the top one as well just kind of opens up the map for Complexity, because as the game goes on, it becomes so much harder to take those tier 2 towers because every team is going to try to get into a fight, even for the positional war.
And it's interesting too, like, you expect Tiny to take more towers, at least maybe like a tier 3. This even this tier 2 middle is still alive, which is actually kind of surprising to me, but Complexity have been on their side of the map for a long time. It just feels like right now they're starting to push up and take a foothold and push into the enemy side of the base, so...
Yeah, if I'm Unknown, though, Mod, I think I slowed down the game. Instead of just kind of waiting for opportunities to come for me, I think I would try to maybe attempt a smoke gank of my own once the Aegis expires, and try to go on a target like the Queen of Pain before she can get her BKB off. Like, just go in with the Earthshaker or the Lion. Like, you have great initiate on both your supports. Try to get a stun off in some way. I guess the Lion actually still doesn't have a Blink Dagger. It feels to me like his item build, he's had no progression because he's had to play the hard 5 role.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of incorrect. Like, I think Z-Talk, after even the Glimmer Cape...
Kanoa! He ball lightnings away. Is he TPing out? He actually is going to use it. They need a right click. They can't impale. His BKB saves his life just barely. He almost died again. Would have been down to, like, I don't know, what, 2 Bloodstone charges, something like that. Would not have been great.
That's depressing. And Z-Freak actually might get caught out here.
Enchant Totem to the face. Ball Lightning. Darkano actually gets the kill. He needed to be in there. I'm pretty sure they waited for him to get that kill.
Yeah, they actually did. They just kind of chilled after that last hit. They're like, oh, our Storm's trying to come in. He probably was screaming at the top of his lungs like, I need that kill. I need to at least be near it. And so, good job by them. But the thing about the Storm Spirit build that he has right now is that if you go a BKB and a Eul Scepter, you don't really have too much damage. Like, the Orchid isn't as good as the Hex in a lot of ways, but the one thing that it does give you is it gives you a lot of free damage.
Yep.
It gives you attack speed, which Storm desperately needs. It adds 30 damage on top of that and 25 int, so it's more like 55 damage. And coupled with the attack speed, I think that the item just provides so much for you.
It feels like Eul's and BKB, it's not two worthless items, but in terms of this game, the Eul Scepter hasn't really done anything. The BKB kind of does the same thing that Eul's does. So Eul's pick up first seems like, okay, well, what am I using this item for right now? Maybe mana regeneration. That's pretty much it. Sort of.
It's pretty minor. Like, the 150% at this point, it's not worth the cost. Getting something like the BKB first and then going for the Hex, he would have had a little bit more gold to work with, and maybe he can go for an AC or Mjolnir or something like that. I think that was S4's preferred build before the patch hit. I think he went for something like a Mjolnir as a second or third item, because you desperately need the attack speed if you're not going to go for the Orchid.
Yeah.
Like, you need some sort of item that gives you a little bit more damage, and getting a BKB and the Eul Scepter, it feels kind of like getting a BKB and a Linken's in a game like this.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the Darkseer a little bit. He does have a 4-staff. He's got a Shiva's as well. So the Darkseer, a vacuum wall can change the complexion of a fight. There's no BKB on the Tiny. There's no real BKBs on any hero except for Ziz on the Queen of Pain. So you do have to worry a little bit about positioning. There's still the Echo Slam. There's still that vacuum wall. Still Shackle Shot. Still everything that the line has. Eventually, I do think the Tiny will purchase up a BKB just because the nature of the game. But for now, there is that comeback mechanic, not necessarily through the Storm Spirit, but through every other avenue for Unknown.
Yeah, that Storm isn't going to be the reason why they win the fight. The way that they're going to win the fight is if the Wind Ranger can get a good Shackle off, get on top of somebody and actually use her Focus Fire. Because right now, the issue is that, yes, you have a lot of aggressive offensive items, right? Like the Aghanim Scepter, the Daedalus, the Maelstrom. Fantastic, but if you start every single fight at 30% HP, you're never going to get into an actual battle. You're never going to get the Focus Fire off, and they've timed it out. Look at this. This is perfect.
Oh, Moon breaks the smoke. He knows exactly where everyone is. Swindle's got to come and finds Greedy. Greedy gets Mana Burn mixed up. Now there's going to be the left coming through as well. BKB for Kotaro. Greedy can't get anything off.
Mana Burn.
The Mana Burn wrecks him. Echo Slam brings down Swindle Melons. Echo Slam coming in. Darkano now going to work. Z-Freak the next target. Ziz right-clicking down Kotaro. Hexes him up, looking for Excel instead, but there's the Earth Spike. Ziz is going to fall. It's a 2-for-3 trade, but now just supports and Moonbeam the offlane. Darkano out of mana, though. He's used his last little zip. There's the Telekinesis. Vendetta, do they have the appeal? He misses. The Fade Bolt comes out. There's another Mana Burn. TP coming in. It's going to be from, I believe, the Darkseer, who was just respawned. Did he buy back? He didn't. Vacuum up now the X on Moonmander. They're going to go for this kill. Darkano is still alive. Now the wall is up. The Impale coming through. Fade Bolt not doing enough. Gem on the deck. Moon the last to live. Shackle Shot. Now the Ball Lightning forward. He just got enough mana for it. They get the kill. It's a 5-man wipe. Complexity dead in the dirt. Darkanoa, how are you alive right now? You were sitting at like 100 HP. That's a huge victory coming out for Unknown.
Yeah, things actually started out so well because they popped Greedy off the bat. And more importantly than that, you saw that Octarine core go to work.
Yeah.
That 3-second mana burn, he was able to use it on him twice in that fight alone. He's completely drawn out of the fight, but the problem for them again is that this Tiny doesn't have a BKB, and there's like 5 different stuns.
He went Talisman of Evasion. I don't know about this, man.
It's one of those syndromes that you get into where you feel like you're a little bit further than you are. You kind of start to look at the best case scenarios, like, oh, in every single fight the Wisp has been able to bail me out. But the damage was just a little bit too high, and you can't rely on just the Wisp, I feel, to bail you out. Like, there's a Hex on the enemy team. Both of their supports are some of the best lockdown control supports in the game.
Yes.
You have to be aware of this. Imagine if the Tiny has the BKB there. Then he goes to work. There's just a giant Rockman with 2,700 HP, a lot of armor with that AC, tons of attack speed. Exactly, and I feel like going for this Butterfly, yes, it's okay because it's good against the Storm Spirit and the Wind Ranger, but I feel like it's a little bit more important for him to constantly be able to pump out damage.
Yeah, I think there later on down the road, if the game does go late enough, he will be able to sell the Blink Dagger, finish up the Butterfly, and then go for that BKB eventually. Like, he has that extra slot to work with, and he desperately needs that BKB, and I'm sure he knows it now. They're going to go on top lane. Kotaro gets hexed up. Ziz going to go in. Dark Kanoa out of mana. Sonic Wave gets Orchided, pops the BKB. He's dead now for 55. He just got up to like 9 Bloodstone charges. He is going to be finishing up his Linken's pretty soon, which is another defensive item, but he does fall yet again.
I think this one is a little bit better, though, because if he's up against the Queen of Pain, if she has to cast the dagger and the Scythe of Ice at the same time, then most of the time he'll be able to blink out. And that Nyx Assassin with that 3-second mana burn, I think that the Linken's is justifiable here.
Yes.
But the same kind of applies in that he doesn't have the best damage.
Again, now there's the Vendetta. The mana burn coming out. They find him, toss Avalanche. Kotaro Hayama's going to fall next. He's down for 83 with no buyback. That kill might have just lost them racks, if not the game. That's huge. We're going to have to see a big back wall, Earthshaker, Echo Slam, Earth Spike from everybody on Unknown. They're going to have to put in some work, but they're going to lose their racks beforehand, it looks like.
Oh, and Greedy actually gets caught out by Moon Meander. There shouldn't be an touch of him, though.
Vacuum, wall comes out. They'll have to back away, so they'll create some space. BKB for Ziz. He just goes to work on the melee racks, and now he's going to have to blink out. That tiny illusion did some damage, but Ball Lightning. Dark Kanoa is going to go in, but Telekinesis from Fly. Jump in from Swindle. Toss Avalanche. Dark Kanoa, no. That was not the play. 70 seconds. Greedy gets silenced up as well. Mana burn onto Excel. Fly. Spell Steal. It's Earth Spike. Beautifully done. You can see Z-Talk does not want to go in for that Echo Slam. Jump forward from Swindle. Gets through the wall, actually. Doesn't actually hit it. Backs away. Glimmer kicked up. Tether through. And that kill on Dark Kanoa. He jumped in. Why? Why did he go for that play?
Yeah, he had like a little bit more vision. I mean, he goes in there. He goes in like the only spot he can't see everything from, and he has to anticipate that everybody's just going to drop the hammer at top.
Echo Slam coming out, but not enough damage, and Z-Talk is going to fall next, down for 60 seconds. Another Glimmer Cape onto Swindlemelon. Maybe that's the reason why he's not going BKB. Moon gets fingered, but he's still alive. Actually pops the Vendetta. 30-second cooldown at this point, so he can use it pretty much willingly. Greedy's got to get surged up, but no mana for anything, really. They lose their second racks. It's actually the melee racks top. No set of racks gone. But the set of racks mid is down. And suddenly this game, it's not over yet, but it certainly feels very difficult. There's the items coming up from Moon Meander. Yes, the Lurker.
I think now it's okay, though.
Yes.
The type of position that you're in, if you're sieging for high ground or something like that, then it's pretty useful, but...
Have you actually ever seen this before? Like at a pub game or anything?
No. I haven't seen Nyx picked in so long.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
And nobody ever gets that. Like, the game doesn't progress in the sense that you get a Hand of Midas and then an Aghanim Scepter.
There's, like, Ags that I forget even exist. Like, there was a Lone Druid yesterday that picked up an Aghanim Scepter. I'm like, what? That's a thing? Apparently my knowledge is not where it used to be, but I learned very quickly what it's good for, so...
I played a lot of scrims and stuff lately because for the TI3 East qualifier, before the qualifier, so I played a lot of games, but I actually never saw Nyx.
Nyx Assassin now coming in. 3 previous Nyx Ags in pro matches, all are 3-0, but all late pickups. That is exactly the case that we're seeing right now, pretty much. And he's not even that far ahead, but...
I wonder if it's one of those things where you get the Aghanims and it wins you the game, or you're winning so you can get Ags, and it doesn't really matter.
I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
That would make more sense to me anyway.
Alright, if they get this Roshan, complexity, you're going to be so far ahead. Then the Tiny, it doesn't really matter that he's gone for this Butterfly, because the Queen of Pain should have an Aegis, and then they'll have the cheese on the Wisp.
So Swindle's not going to... That Blink Dagger is actually very important. It's put... Oh my god, this Rosh is getting absolutely whacked. MKB stun for days. I'm sure he's getting ragged as well. Cheese is picked up. Swindle did drop his Blink Dagger, gave it to the Eye, who picks up a Lotus Orb, by the way. Another... There's been talk about underwhelming items. Of course, Glimmer Cape is on the other end of that discussion. But Silver Edge as well as Lotus Orb have been considered, I think, underwhelming by, at least for a lot of casters that I talk to. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I think Lotus Orb is incredibly situational, but I think in this game it's kind of okay. It's not what I would anticipate as a must-need item. It's one of those ultra-luxury items. I think in our game where we played in the qualifiers, they want us the game because there's a Beastmaster on the other team.
Yeah.
And you can break the stun from it, and you can also get him roared at the same time.
Yeah.
And so, if you use it like that, it feels a little bit broken. But it's one of those items that you'll never get as a first or second item. It's like the ultra luxury. I've got the gold for it. Why not?
It's for me, it's a pub item against a Terrorblade. They never see it coming. It's actually fantastic. We were playing a pub game at the BTS house, and they tried sundering. I think it was like K-pop, and he's like, "No, I don't think so."
You just ping pong it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're at full health. He's back to where he was before, and then he dies. They never expect it. Even if they see the animation, at least in our bracket, like 4K, 3.5K, they're like, "Oh, I'm actually just dead again."
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
This is a big defense, though, and I mean, Unknown. They had that really, really good fight in the jungle. That was best possible case scenario.
Yeah.
And then those individual pickoffs have just been so killer for their chances.
It's another situation where maybe they're tilting after taking a huge fight. Dark Kanoa, that's ballsy. Fly could have been ready for a lift there, but no one. You never expect anyone to make that kind of play, but
that was incredibly ballsy. Like, if that fails, then that's what you just rested all of your chances.
No buyback
game.
Only Radiant buyback. Guess what? It's greedy, which is pretty big, I will admit, if he doesn't get his wall off, which he's got an Aghanim Scepter. Swindle destroys that tier 3 tower, blinks away immediately. Moonmander's mid, impales Dark Kanoa, gets the mana burn off, now lurks up as well. Now bottom lane, Earth Spike, jump in, Swindle, he's gonna get caught out here, getting low, gets blown up, down for 98 seconds, Ziz as well. Shackle shot it up, but that's just the Aegis. The Swindle buyback, he doesn't have boots of travel, they can relocate him in, but they're gonna try to find Ziz. Pops the BKB, blinks out, relocate. They tried relocating, I believe, Swindle didn't actually work out there, so that's probably why he doesn't buy back. And so they defend, but there's only one building in terms of racks left down bottom, and that's the melee racks.
I think all they have to do at this point is wait out the game. If Unknown leave their base at any point, then they can just relocate Tether in. And they do so much damage. And if the Queen of Pain is ready, then the correct way to do it is that she blinks in BKBs. Unknown have no BKB breakers. Aside, I guess the Focus Fire is a little bit annoying, but you can just Hex the Wind Ranger or kind of play around. And if you're on top of the racks for more than half a second, then Complexity gets it. Like that's all it's going to take, half a second.
There is Glyph, but even with Glyph, I don't know if there's much that Unknown can do at this point. And also, if you want to, as a Tiny, sell your Blink Dagger or drop your Blink Dagger and buy BKB, you absolutely could right now.
Alright,
he's going to get hexed up. Dark Kanoa is going in. Lotus Orb comes through. He pulls himself with the Lotus Orb. Echo Slam onto Ziz. Ziz is going to fall. Doesn't have buyback. Z-Freak relocates out, but will relocate back into his death. There's no Swindle Melons, and Ziz is dead for 89 seconds. Okay, alright. Unknown making some plays, and Dark Kanoa, despite getting himself pulled in. Z-Freak is going to get hexed up, Earth Spike, and they just find yet another kill. Kotaro Hayama now gets a double again. A pretty impressive stat line for the game going as poorly as this, 10-5-5.
Yeah, but I feel like the amount of impact that he's had in fights hasn't been all the way there. Like, he's had some pretty decent pickoffs, but I don't know if it's a team decision, so I'm not going to personally criticize him. But a lot of the times they decide to go in, he's not in the best positions, and he starts off the fight with 20% HP. And so I think that they have to, as a group, kind of make the decision to kind of go in this fight, be a little bit smarter.
Are we talking about the Storm Spirit or the Wind Ranger?
The Wind Ranger.
I feel like she could use a Blink Dagger, but I'm not sure if that would make a difference. Top lane, Moonbanner is going to fly, and actually it's going to be batting kill range. Oh my god, that thing's huge.
Yeah, they have to go all out for this, though, while the Wisp is dead. That's the more important here, is that while the Wisp is dead, they don't really have a second shot at this. Like, if they lose this fight, the game's over. But if they don't go for this, they probably die the slow way. At least in this way, they have everything going for them. Essentially, like, they get to decide the type of terms that they want to go out on.
Oh, Nick's Assassin. Oh, okay, he did TP back. I thought he was still in the base. No, he's ready to go. And the IO respawns by the time they get to the base. They can't even push in right now. Like, they have to back all the way up. Roche isn't available for a long time, so they have no objective to take there, and they still might die the slow way.
Yeah, I think that they had to back out there. They realized it wasn't going to happen. The Nyx can just indefinitely sit on top of the hill with his burrow, and so it makes it a little bit difficult, but I mean, there's not a whole lot I feel like Unknown can do unless Complexity messes up. Like, I feel it's going to be less about how Unknown plays and more about how Complexity plays. Like, Complexity, if they're smart, what they do is they wait it out, they push out the lanes, and then they just go all in, assault that barracks at bottom. Like, just try to keep the Tiny alive for even a little bit. Space the Queen of Pain out. She's got so much damage on her own. You've got an AC on the Tiny as well, so everybody gets buffed in terms of damage. I think he just needs a little bit of time. And okay, now that he gets the BKB, his margin for error is huge now.
Yeah, he really, short of a Focus Fire on a Wind Ranger and a couple of good crits and MKB procs, I don't see them really bringing him down. That seems to be the only way, but with an Assault Cuirass, he's sitting at 31 armor, 2.7k HP, which is going to get buffed up with the BKB, so he's now at 3k. He's got a Lincoln Sphere passive coming through from the Queen of Pain. He's going to walk forward, though, into the entire enemy team. He doesn't have that blink. Nyx is coming from the backside, and Kotaro and Squad are going to back away. They do not want to engage there. They don't have vision. They have no real vision except for in the mid lane. They will not try to fight this.
That was a smart move by Unknown, though. I was about to say they have to leave their base and fight before they get to the racks, because if you try to play the racks defense game, they just get on top and crush you.
Burrow comes out. They almost lost Z-Talk there. The good thing is that everyone has buyback except for the Wind Ranger. She just bought something. I'm not sure what it was. Oh, bots. I think she just bought bots.
All right, here's the plan for Complexity. Push uphill, pop your BKBs, go all in.
Run at the base, take the racks.
You have buybacks. Like, there's almost nothing that can be lost by this.
They really they need to get this last building and secure the game. Easier said than done against this squad of Unknown, but we're getting to that point. They could also wait for Roche if they really wanted to, which is, who knows how long at this point. I don't think the timer's popped up yet. But
Unknown have done a good job, though, so far, of keeping up in this game. I think the main thing is that they just kind of have to realize the type of situation that they're in, and they can't just let Complexity give them the slow siege of death. Like, they have to kind of make a proactive move, but in all honesty, I'm coming up with blanks, so it's going to be even harder for them.
I can't even think, like, it just feels like there's no way now that there's BKB on Swindle. Like, every single fight has been him getting caught out, and they do catch him out now. He needs BKB now. He will. Dark Kanoa is going to get caught out with the Hex. Sonic Wave's going to fly through on the backside. Dark Kanoa lives. Fisher block. Swindle walks through the wall. That is a problem. Kotaro does fall. Doesn't have the buyback. Ziz blinks out the wall. The illusion dissipates. They're going to heal up Swindle. It's going to take some time, though. They relocated him out. He barely survived, even with that BKB. He took so much damage coming through. But he actually does survive, and he's going to walk towards mid. Roche respawns immediately. That is an 8-minute Roche respawn. Not that they're backing up for it, though. Wall's about to dissipate as well, and still no buyback for the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, and if she had buyback, she would have used it by now. So I think Complexity is pretty much aware of that fact. They do have the glyph up, though, on Unknown. And that was the perfect fight, actually. Z-Talk, Fissure blocks Swindle Melon, so even when he pops his BKB, he wanted to just hit that Rax, but unable to do so.
Greedy. Gonna get forced back. Fisher's stolen. Excel gets blown up by Ziz, and the last Rax. Glyph is gonna go. Darkano is gonna try to his very end, but he will have to buy back as he goes down. Echo Slam comes in. Swindle getting low. BKB for Darkano going to work. Glimmer Cape on Z-Talk. X up on the Swindle. Still alive. Ziz now looking to try to go to work on Darkano. He will get the last couple of right clicks. Will he fall? Fly flicks forward. Fade Bolt. Ultra kill for Ziz. Might even get the Rampage. Looking for Z-Talk. Gonna find Greedy instead. Last right click, but there's the Fisher. Go in, Ziz. You know you want to. Come on. He blinks away. The Screamer Pain wouldn't have been enough, and GG is finally called. It took a while for Complexity, 60 minutes in fact, but they kept the lead. They put the pressure on, and they take the game.
Should have given him the mana Rampage.
Yeah. Go out of the base. Go out of the well.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
It was one of those things, okay, we have no buybacks. We actually can't come back in this game, but I felt personally there was a large window of opportunity that I felt that Unknown was actually ahead of the game. They were playing it really well. They were stacking farm for the Storm Sphere. Nobody was really dying too much. Greedy in that top lane played a little bit greedy, but
yeah.
Aside from that, it was just that one fight and that bottom lane where things just kind of collapsed for them.
Yeah.